Konnichiwa! If you're planning to travel to Japan, this video is for you. I'm bringing you a glimpse of what Japan feels like right now in March 2025. Whether it's your first time or you're a repeat traveler, you'll find tips to help you make the most of springtime in Japan. Stick around till the end. Let's get started. On March 6, 2025, JR East launched a new mobile service called Welcome Suica Mobile, designed specifically for international visitors. This app makes getting around Japan by train or bus much easier and more convenient. With Welcome Suica Mobile, you can easily issue, top up, and use a Suica card directly from your smartphone. It's especially useful for short-term travelers. One of the biggest perks? No account registration and no deposit required. That means you can start using it right away just by downloading the app. No need to wait in line at ticket machines or counters. This service can be used anywhere. Suica is accepted on trains, buses, at convenience stores, restaurants, and more across Japan. The card is valid for 180 days from the time it's issued. It's truly designed with travelers in mind. Right now, it's available on iPhone and Apple Watch, and you can top it up using a credit card through Apple Pay. In the near future, it will also be linked with the JR East train reservation system, allowing ticketless rides on Shinkansen and limited express trains. And let's talk about how this differs from the regular mobile Suica. The standard mobile Suica, which we've covered before, is meant for residents in Japan. It requires you to create a Suica account and pay a 500 yen deposit when issuing the card. In contrast, Welcome Suica Mobile is designed specifically for short-term visitors. No account registration, no deposit, and easy temporary use. That said, it doesn't offer some of the more advanced features like commuter passes, auto-reload, or point rewards. So, if you're planning to stay in Japan for a longer period, the regular mobile Suica might be the better option. But for a short trip of 1 or 2 weeks, Welcome Suica Mobile is definitely the way to go. It makes traveling in Japan smoother and more comfortable, and it's shaping up to become the new standard for international visitors. Spring has arrived in Japan once again, and that means cherry blossoms. In 2025, Tokyo's cherry blossom season officially began on March 24th. That's right around the usual time, but 5 days earlier than last year. The official bloom date is based on a sample cherry tree at Yasukuni Shrine in Chiyoda, Tokyo. When 5 or 6 flowers open on that tree, the Japan Meteorological Agency declares that sakura season has begun. If the weather stays on track, Tokyo is expected to hit full bloom around March 31st, just in time for this video's release. Elsewhere, places like Nagoya and Fukuoka also saw blossoms begin around March 24th. In the Kansai region, Osaka started blooming around March 26th, and Kyoto around March 27th. Kyoto's full bloom is expected around April 5th. Up north, the season starts a bit later, with Sendai expected to bloom in early April, and Sapporo in late April. Cherry blossom hotspots across Japan are already buzzing with Hanami excitement. In Tokyo's Ueno Park, the famous cherry blossom tunnel is gradually turning pink, drawing crowds of both tourists and locals. Even on weekdays, over at Shinjuku Gyoen, international visitors can be seen snapping photos or spreading out picnic mats to enjoy the spring vibe. That said, a brief cold snap is expected later this week, so if you're heading out for some nighttime blossom viewing, it's a good idea to bring a coat or a blanket just in case. More and more travelers are now using apps and social media to check real-time sakura updates. Many are becoming cherry blossom hunters, chasing peak bloom across different spots based on the latest info. And remember, Hanami isn't just about looking at flowers. Each location has its own charm, with street food stalls, seasonal events, and beautiful nighttime light-ups. Places like Meguro River, Chidori Gafuchi, and Kyoto's Philosopher's Path are once again popular this year as perfect Instagram-worthy Hanami spots. Right now, Japan is welcoming a huge number of tourists from all over the world, and the numbers are even surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Just walking around the city, you'll hear a mix of languages like English, Chinese, Korean, and those from Southeast Asia. You can really feel that inbound tourism is back in full swing. According to the latest reports from the Japan Tourism Agency, the number of international visitors has continued to grow steadily in 2025. While many travelers are coming from across Asia, There's also a noticeable increase in tourists from Europe, North America, and Australia. Japan's government has set a goal of reaching 60 million international visitors annually by 2030, and that target is starting to look more and more achievable. Many are coming for winter sports, hot springs, and to experience Japan's unique food culture. Tourism is no longer limited to big cities. More and more visitors are exploring rural areas as well. Tourists from China are also returning in full force. Popular sightseeing spots and shopping districts across Japan are now just as busy, or even busier than they were before the pandemic. With crowded airports, high hotel occupancy rates, and improved multilingual support at tourist destinations, inbound tourism is once again playing a major role in Japan's economy and daily life. Public transportation systems are expanding foreign language signage, free Wi-Fi access, and cashless payment options, making travel in Japan smoother and smarter than ever before. On the flip side, Japan is also facing serious challenges with overtourism, especially in popular destinations like Kyoto. During peak seasons such as cherry blossom viewing in spring or the autumn foliage period, areas around Kiyomizu-dera Temple and Arashiyama become heavily congested. Traffic jams and packed public transport are not only frustrating for tourists, but are also affecting the daily lives of local residents. For instance, in the Higashiyama district's Sanenzaka area, narrow streets often get overcrowded, making it difficult for people to walk. This kind of congestion also lowers the overall experience for tourists themselves. To address the issue, the city of Kyoto has been working on various strategies, such as dispersing visitors more evenly and improving infrastructure. In the Saga Arashiyama area, for example, the city has introduced a digital map system to guide tourists toward less crowded spots within the region. This initiative is already showing results by easing congestion and spreading out the flow of visitors more effectively. Since 2024, Kyoto has also introduced a special Weekend Express tourist bus that runs on Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays. The goal is to improve access to major tourist spots and reduce pressure on regular public transportation. However, these buses have also become crowded with tourists, leading to concerns that local residents may have trouble using them. As part of its broader efforts to combat overtourism, Kyoto City is also considering raising its accommodation tax. Specifically, starting in March 2026, the city plans to increase the upper limit of the tax from 1,000 yen per night to 10,000 yen. The aim is to both curb excessive tourist numbers and use the additional revenue to improve local infrastructure and public services. In 2025, there's been a sharp increase in the number of Chinese tourists visiting Japan. During the Lunar New Year holiday in particular, large numbers of Chinese travelers came to Japan, filling popular tourist spots and shopping areas. This surge has had a major positive impact on Japan's tourism industry and economy. However, some concerns have also been raised regarding tourist etiquette. Issues such as speaking loudly in public, cutting in line, or littering have been reported in a few areas. These behaviors can sometimes clash with local customs and social norms in Japan, leading to tension between visitors, locals, and other tourists. In fact, I recently experienced this myself during a ski trip. I was suddenly approached by a Chinese tourist who spoke to me in an unfriendly manner. Of course, this doesn't mean all Chinese tourists behave that way, not at all. But it does highlight how differences in manners and cultural expectations can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or conflicts. When visiting Japan, it's important for everyone to be mindful of local customs and considerate of others to avoid unnecessary trouble with fellow travelers. With the arrival of spring, Japan also enters a season when many people suffer from seasonal conditions, namely pollen allergies and yellow dust. As of late March, pollen levels are peaking, with both cedar and cypress pollen now in the air. Cedar pollen typically starts spreading from mid-February, with a sharp increase in March. Now, toward the end of March, cypress pollen is being added to the mix, causing even more intense symptoms like sneezing, itchy eyes, runny nose, and skin irritation. To make matters worse, yellow dust is also blowing in. These are tiny sand particles carried by the wind from deserts in inland China, usually reaching Japan around this time of year. From March 25th to 26th, Yellow dust was observed over a wide area from western to eastern Japan, making it especially tough for those already suffering from pollen allergies. Among tourists, it's becoming increasingly common to wear masks and glasses, not just for virus protection, but also to shield against pollen and yellow dust. More people are also choosing clothing made from materials that don't attract pollen easily. And there's a growing habit of brushing off outerwear at the door before going inside, helping keep indoor spaces allergen-free. March in Japan often brings mild, spring-like weather, but it's also a time when the temperature can change quickly and dramatically. In late March 2025, many regions including the Kanto area have seen daytime highs above 20 Celsius, with some days feeling more like early summer. However, mornings and evenings can still be quite chilly, with lows sometimes dropping below 10 degrees Celsius. It's not unusual for the temperature to swing more than 10 degrees in a single day, which makes choosing the right outfit really important when heading out. While it might feel warm enough for just a shirt during the day, it can get noticeably cooler by evening. Carrying a light jacket or cardigan is a smart move. If you plan to be out sightseeing for long hours or stay out into the evening, dressing in layers is the best way to stay comfortable and adjust to changing temperatures throughout the day. So, how was it? In this video, I shared real, up-to-date tips that are especially helpful for travelers right now. Japan is bursting with life as cherry blossom season begins, and both cities and tourist spots are full of spring energy. But at the same time, things like crowds, temperature swings, and pollen are all worth keeping an eye on. I hope this information helps make your trip smoother and more enjoyable. I'll keep sharing useful tips for traveling in Japan. So if you found this helpful, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy your journey in Japan, and I'll see you in the next video.